students, welcome back to Study Smart channel. We meet again in Science Standard 5 Chapter 3 Animals. Let's start. The topics covered in this video are survival of animal species, difference between characteristics and also behavior of animals, characteristic of animals to protect themselves from enemies, and the behaviors of animals to protect themselves from enemies. Let's look into the definition of survival of animal species first. Survival is referring to the ability for animals to maintain their species in order to avoid extinction. Characteristics and behaviors. Characteristics refer to the inherent physical and genetic traits of an animal. These are the things that you can see and touch, and they often stay the same throughout the animal's life. Examples of animal characteristics are dogs have 4 legs, beetles have hard shells, and peacock has colorful feathers. Behavior refers to the action or activities of an animal. These are the things that can change based on their environment, needs, and experiences. Examples of animal behaviors are polar bears hibernate throughout the winter, squids release ink when they approach by enemies, birds that migrate from one place to another place. Now, let's look at the specific characteristics of animals that can protect themselves from the enemies. Protected by hard shells, stings that can release venom, produce bad smell, pattern that resembles fake eyes, hard scales, strong leg muscle, sharp horns or tusks. These are the characteristics of animals that help them to protect from enemies. We will look into each of these characteristics in detail. The first characteristic is protected by hard shell. The example of animals are tortoise, crab, snail, and turtle. These animals have the hard shell that help to cover the animal's most vulnerable parts such as the head, tail, and legs. When they are in danger, they can easily withdraw these vulnerable parts into their hard shells, making it difficult for the enemies to reach them. The second characteristic is having stings that can release venom. Bees and wasps have stings that can weaken their enemies. However, animals such as centipede, snake, and scorpion have stings that is so poisonous that it can kill their enemies. Some animals produce bad smell to keep their enemies away. Examples are bedbugs, beetles, cockroaches, and skunks. Many predators rely heavily on their sense of smell to hunt. A strong, unpleasant odor can make them uncomfortable, and this eventually discourages them from hunting this kind of animals. The animals that have patterns that resemble fake eyes are moths, butterflies, and caterpillars. Moths have patterns that resemble fake eyes on their wings to deceive the enemies. Caterpillars have fake eyes in order to scare off the predators. Other than that, some animals have hard scales that can protect themselves from injuries. Those animals are crocodile, arapaima fish, and pangolin. Animals such as rabbit, horse, and frog have strong leg muscles that help them to run and escape from their enemies easily. Some animals have sharp horns or tusks in order to protect themselves from enemies. Those animals are buffalo, deer, rhinoceros, and elephant. Well, students, we already done with the specific characteristic of animals that help them to protect from enemies. Now, let's look at the specific behaviors of animals that help them to protect from enemies. As mentioned earlier, behavior refers to the action or activities of an animal. So, the example of behaviors are having sharp spine on their body, inflate body, detach certain part of their body, spurt out black ink, withdraw parts of the body into the shell, curl their body up, and lastly, live in groups. Let's look into detail for each of these behaviors. The first behavior of animals is using sharp spine to attack. Animals such as porcupine will use the sharp spine to attack its enemies. These are the examples of animals that got injured due to the sharp spine from the porcupine. When feel threatened, pufferfish can inflate their bodies by rapidly ingesting water. This inflation makes them much larger and more difficult for predators to swallow them. Many pufferfish have spine on their body that lay flat against their body. When they inflate, this spine will stand as an additional layer of defense for the pufferfish. Next behavior is detach certain part of the body. Many lizard species can detach their tails when they feel threatened. The detached tail continues to move, distracting the predator and allowing the lizard to escape. Octopuses can lose an arm to escape a predator. The arm will eventually regrow. The animals that can release out black ink when approached by enemies are squid, cuttlefish and octopus. These animals use their ink not only to block the vision of their enemies, but also sometimes to create confusion or even irritate the senses of their predators. Do you know that this ink is typically composed of melanin, the same pigment found in human skin and hair, which give them the black color? Quite interesting, right? The next behavior is withdraw parts of the body into the shell. Animals such as tortoise, turtle and snail can retract their heads, legs and tails into their shell when they feel threatened. The hard shell provides protection from predators. Pangolins roll up into a tight ball, tucking in their heads, legs and tails when they feel threatened. Millipedes curl into a spiral when they feel disturbed. This helps to protect their vulnerable body side. Hedgehogs roll into a tight ball, exposing their spines and protecting their soft underbellies from the predators. This makes it difficult for the predators to attack without getting pricked by the spines. The last behavior of animals that protect them from enemies are living in groups. Animals such as elephants and ants always live in groups so that it is difficult for them to be attacked by the enemies. Alright students, today we have covered the specific characteristics and behaviors of animals that help them to protect from enemies. Until we meet again in the next video, thank you and have a nice day. Bye.